You are listening to the Foamy Heads podcast, where we discuss craft beer and anything else that accompanies a glass.
Volume up. We live? We're live. Mitch and Rich back here with the Foamy Heads, hanging out in Nashville, Tennessee. Was not aware where we were. There you go. There you go. Where we are. Until Rachel and Keith definitely brought it to my attention. We're hanging out in Zahn's Brewery in Nashville, Tennessee. We've got the owners of Dark Shadow Brewing here today. Rachel and Keith, what's going on, guys?
How's it going?
Hey.
It's going good. You know, you can smile for the camera if you want to, Keith. It's okay.
He's gonna do his
A little
creepy
less.
smile.
That's okay. That's okay.
I like that one. I like that one.
Yeah.
Definitely creepy.
Good to have you guys on today. I know
Yes.
we've been talking Mitch for a while.
Yeah, it's schedules have been weird for us this year. It's, it is what it is.
And then it finally worked. Rachel, I know we had been talking about it. So you guys were on with us at the live show at Bearded Irish Sylvan Supply a few months back.
Yep.
And we got a very short, finite amount of time to be able to talk to you guys. And there was definitely a lot of people there that night. And kind of just pushing editing down and all that kind of stuff. It was like, the Dark Shadow. So one, I'm a big fan of the way you guys run your brewery. So it's kind of like it's community focused, it's central focused, and then you kind of start from the middle and then you branch outward. So it's definitely exciting to have you guys on the show today. Dark Shadow Brewing. We're going to get into some of the beers in just a minute because you brought some very good beers for us today.
And
one of which
I'm
won an
thirsty,
award.
man. I'm thirsty.
Okay, all right. We're going to get in. Let's get into it first. Then I'm definitely interested in the history of Dark Shadow, but Keith, talk us through real quick what we're drinking here as our first round.
Oh, that's the honey lavender blonde. So we used actual honey, some lavender syrup.
Organic honey, right?
Yeah, organic honey. And
everything's
syrup.
organic nowadays. It has to be.
It has to be
Yes.
organic honey. You don't want the
right.
And then,
pesticides in your honey.
Right.
It was our first iteration, our first go around, and the lavender was a concern because using too much you can actually make it taste like soap.
Oh.
But
So
it
good.
turned out so well that not only does it taste amazing, but it won an award at the Murfreesboro Shakespeare Festival for the best beer.
Nice.
So yeah, it's hopefully it's a nice, easy drinking light ale with a taste of honey and lavender on the back.
And being able to put both honey and lavender into a blonde ale and not overpower something like that, I imagine is more difficult. Also, you mentioned it's very hard off air, and just now you mentioned it's very difficult to make lavender not taste soapy, but to put it in a blonde ale of that is probably difficult as well.
One of the things that we can discuss, but the honey lavender was Rachel's brainchild. We sit around as a team and we think about beers and we think about what we want to brew, and 9 times out of 10 she'll come up with what we're gonna brew, and then Craig and I, one of the partners, are the ones who create the recipes and make it. But most of the ideas, this came from her. I mean, we were talking and I don't even remember where it came from, and she's like, we were talking about a honey blonde, and then the word lavender came up, and then all of a sudden, boom, honey lavender, and then I came up with the recipe, and there you go.
Now we're drinking.
No, I
it.
knew I wanted to do lavender. It's just a matter of getting them on board.
Yeah.
Well, it's not an easy ingredient to work with.
No,
I see
Interesting.
lavender and saisons. I think like Tenfold brewed a lavender saison hibiscus.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it was a hibiscus saison.
Okay.
But I believe they did something with lavender also back
did.
in the 2023. Okay, gotcha. So very difficult ingredient to work with. So kudos to both of you for doing that.
The nose on this thing.
Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah.
This.
I'm not.
honey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a little
Like
honey
the honey
forward,
is
yeah.
like
I'm not big on the lavender scent. I don't know what it's supposed to smell like, but for me on
flowery.
the nose,
Smells
I'm
like
getting-
lavender.
smells
Sorry.
like purple.
I didn't know that.
It smells like purple.
It smells like purple.
It's like one of those dryer sheets that.
We're drinking dry. Please make a dryer sheet
No.
beer. That'd be a great name
Actually,
for a beer.
yeah.
You could put
well,
it in the
yeah.
water. It dissolves into beer.
Yeah, freshest sheet.
Oh yeah. Oh my god.
That would be terrible. Freshest sheets.
Yeah.
Definitely getting honey on the nose.
Yeah. No, I
Um,
love the nose. It's very sweet and inviting. So it's definitely letting me know what I'm about to dive into.
which is what I'm about to do right
So
now.
then drink it, damn it.
Don't have to tell me twice.
Yeah, so we ended up
Oh man.
because of all the honey and the syrup from the lavender, because we use the lavender syrup, we didn't use like lavender flower. We ended up a little higher, so it's a 6.8.
6.8.
Yeah.
Is that what happens then? The honey and the sugar increases the ABV in it.
Yeah,
It
we
can,
often we'll often add a little bit more sugar, and even though it's in the recipe, it gives us a ballpark ABV. We end up typically when we're using syrups or things of that nature, or purees, we end up
fruity.
usually higher than what we're shooting for. So not terrible, because it's not like sky high. It's, we're shooting for that in the future for some stuff, which we could talk about later. But right now, it's probably about a half point higher than I wanted it to be, but it's not out of the ballpark.
You were shooting for low
Man.
sixes.
Yeah.
Okay. And 6.8's not bad either, but for a blonde ale that's on the higher end, but it doesn't drink like a blonde ale.
Nice.
Rachel, it's definitely got the viscosity of like a thicker beer with the honey in it.
Yeah.
I kind of do taste purple.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little bit of the lavender, but to me the honey takes center stage on this, which is really nice. Talk to me about you said this won one of the beer festivals that you guys was at.
Yeah, Shakespeare.
Yeah.
When was that?
That was earlier this year in the spring, one of the few spring festivals. Yeah, I think it was May.
Early
May. Yeah.
I remember seeing ads or not ads, but being sent a bunch of things from social media about the upcoming event. I'm like, I know, I'm in Chattanooga.
Can't do it. How
It was actually super early May. It's May 3rd.
May 3rd?
Yeah.
Okay. And how much do you guys do when you make a beer like this? Are you normally attempting to hit like a certain volume, or is it like we're going to do this to sell a six? So like, how much beer do you guys typically have in mind when you're going to brew something like this?
So if we were going to sell it, that would be absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
But as home brewers, we can't sell beer. So when we brew our beers, we typically do a 5-gallon batch.
Okay.
So we're shooting for a 5-gallon, just a standard sixth.
Yep.
And if we are lucky enough to have beer after a fest, then we'll can it.
Okay.
We always tell people at fest to keep in touch, and if they like a beer, to contact us through our socials, and we're happy to give it away. I mean, because it's all we can do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, so we have extra cans like this. This was from Murfreesboro in May, and we have the beer and we brought it. So it's just what we do to try and get as many people associated with what we do and try our beer, not just at fest, but in general.
So the goal is brew enough to get through the festival, maybe have some left over. You don't want it to last too long, obviously.
Yeah, no, it's so much better to blow out everything at a fest, because one, that means that people like it.
Right.
And two, we don't have to can it.
And three, no take home either, right?
But,
you just the empty kegs.
It is a little sad not to. I mean, some of the beer is great to have on hand. When we prior to starting this, one of our partners is in Rhode Island, and
Delaware, actually.
Well, sorry, Delaware. You're right.
Rhode Island's a little farther away.
And she's coming in for a beer fest soon, but we're saving some for her because she doesn't get all the beer we make. So to be able to get her to be able to taste some of our stuff is great. So when we blow out of everything, we can't give it to her or anyone else. So it's a good thing, but it's a bad thing. You know?
Gotcha.
It's a double-edged sword.
So keg it
Especially
first.
when you like a beer and you want it for yourself and it's gone.
You could totally brew it again if you wanted to.
And we do.
Okay.
And we do.
All right. One more question on this one before we jump over to the next one, Rachel, for you. Where did the idea for this come from? Because you mentioned like this was kind of you wanted honey and you wanted some sort of, I assume lavender you said was your idea also.
Yeah.
Was this
I
just
think that it was the lavender that I really wanted to do. I think that I like kind of the florally when I think about like drinking alcohol, I don't know. It's a little different because obviously it's for beer. For me, it's been an evolution, right? I didn't start out drinking beer as probably like a typical female who drank mixed drinks, cocktails.
Zima.
Classic.
Zima.
Classic.
Yes.
I think we all drank Zima.
So what if it was years ago?
That might have been some high school time.
Yeah.
But so I've had alcoholic cocktails that have had lavender in it, and I was like, it would taste amazing. Like I think as a beer.
Yeah.
So
Well, and the color.
well,
The color's
it's
so
like,
yeah. Well, I think that the color. Well, I think in like the lavender color, it was in the syrup, but
Yeah.
it really didn't come. It's not in here.
No, because the honey.
This is the honey that's
And it
Take
well,
it
it doesn't
over.
look like a blonde ale
no.
either.
The honey
Yeah.
took it over.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a great beer. I was a big
Yeah.
fan of it.
I like the darker golden look to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The aroma pulls you in, and the taste keeps you. So that's
Thank you.
No wonder
you.
it's got an award to it.
It's the winner. I like it. Starting off strong for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's 6.8. I didn't know that was going to be a 6.8% beer
doesn't
either,
drink
so I
like
would,
it.
probably
It
wouldn't have
does
started
not
with
drink
that
like
one.
it.
So,
I think they're all in that ballpark. So.
Oh, shoot.
good job. Great brewing.
Thank you.
Big fan of it.
Thank you.
Like it.
Yes.
And you have some others for us
I
here
do.
today as well.
What would you
Amen.
like next?
What are you thinking, Mitch? You want to go with the Gose? What are you thinking? I know. So
It goes with everything.
All right,
you
sold.
can't say no now. You can't say no.
With an opener like that.
Yeah.
So this is our version. We started with this Gose as a key lime pie.
Okay.
So it was a key lime pie Gose, and
Which we did, like 2 years ago or
yeah,
something?
yeah. And we were thinking about it again, but for some reason, key lime kind of went up in price.
Okay.
Crazy.
So we were thinking about what else
Oh.
to do,
Yeah.
and we went with
Nuts.
blueberry.
Damn.
And we actually, I think this is 6.3, so it's not horrible.
That's not bad.
Moderate.
But blueberry we've used before. Blueberry we've used before. We brought it to the last Preds Fest.
Mm-hmm.
It was a blueberry sour.
Okay.
And before we started, Pam, who was kind of running Preds Fest in a sense.
Pam.
Yeah, well, she's in charge of it somehow, isn't she? I thought she was. She runs around like she owns it.
Don't spoil the secret.
Anyway, when we told her what we brought, she's like, "Oh,
She's
that
like
blue."
Cool
she's
Springs
like,
Liquors.
"No, I know, but she's always." I
She
think
knows everyone.
She sponsors or does something with Preds
Yeah,
Fest because she's
because
always
I think
there.
Cool Springs
Oh,
Liquor
okay.
sponsors it.
All right, so she doesn't run. Sorry. Anyway,
Never mind.
we brought the blueberry sour to Preds Fest, and she's like, "That one's gonna go." She's like, "That's gonna be amazing."
Oh,
And it
she's right.
blew out. Yeah.
Wow.
It was like, that was
It was like the
amazing.
first
So
to blow
we
out that
kind of
day.
did a reiteration with this with the blueberry Gose. So it's a
Nice.
it's meant to be a blueberry pie.
But it does have lactose.
Yeah, so it's got a
lactose
little
in it,
lactose
right?
in there.
dude, we need
so
to
if you're
get.
lactose.
And some like cinnamon and.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Did you use graham crackers?
Yes.
Yeah.
We need to
Cinnamon, graham crackers.
Oh yeah,
So we try to get kind of like
thank you.
like the pie crust flavor.
Yeah.
I like the visuals.
Whoa.
Definitely very blueberry-ish. You can tell it in the beer. What is and I'm assuming you know the answer to this question. I don't. Not a sour head fan guy over here, so I'm not necessarily familiar with all the details. But you mentioned you brewed a blueberry sour first, and then now this one is a blueberry Gose.
Mhm.
The difference between a sour and a Gose, because they're both sour to me. Is it kettle sour? Is
Yeah.
it okay?
I mean, usually a sour is a lot more sour. We haven't done a true kettle sour yet, but a sour will definitely be a lot more sour than a Gose.
I've got
I love
two
kettle
different color
sours.
beers here. I
Wait.
think.
Yeah,
Did
that
I
might
get it right?
No,
That's the bottom.
yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So if you want,
No, drink
No.
that
Nope.
one.
Okay. That's what I'm going to go with.
I mean, well, yeah,
Not a bit, so beer has sediment
yes,
in it. So I mean, like, it's
not bad
expected.
for you.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know if it's a
That's good.
difference, but okay. Well, it was good.
At
So
least to me.
it is very good then.
At least to me, yeah.
It does.
It smells like.
Yes.
I think you can smell all of the.
I can-
like the cinnamon and the graham
Yeah,
cracker.
for
and the-
sure. And I appreciate the adjuncts of graham cracker in it and cinnamon because it balances out the sour like tartness in a beer, which to me Goses have always been more tart than they've been sour. I'm also not real big, Mitch,
Yeah.
on the understanding and the knowledge of sours.
Yeah.
But I do know, like when we had our discussion with Creature Comforts, and we had their cucumber lime, Gose. I was a big fan of that. I think I lean more onto the tart side of things than the funky side
Okay.
when it comes to sour beers.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that's what this gives me. It gives me a little bit of tartness to it, but I appreciate the graham cracker flavor. But what are you getting on the nose, Mitch?
Man, it smells like
Graham
dessert.
yeah,
It's
Graham cracker.
yeah.
you're getting the graham cracker.
I'm getting graham
Like,
cracker.
Graham
Good.
cracker,
That's good because
cinnamon.
sometimes we're concerned about when I use the graham cracker, I like to put it in the mash.
Mm.
So it'll be physically ground because we do grind our own grains. We don't buy them
mill.
pre-ground.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we grind them.
That's a process too.
Well, if we get into the super early days, it was such a process that I use a rolling pin like an idiot.
Wow.
Yes.
You
But
got to
now-
start somewhere, man.
But now
Struggling.
we do have a grinder.
Okay.
So a miller. So we,
Yeah.
we can mill the grains, and it's a little bit of a process, but it's not like it's
Yeah.
not like the rolling pin.
Man.
So with that, we do mill or grind the graham cracker in there too, and so that way it's in the mash, and hopefully it brings more of that graham cracker taste out.
Yeah, you got
Sweet. All right.
That's super. I cheated.
Oh, that's fine. That's
I
fine.
took a sip.
So what?
I took a sip.
I get the citrusy notes with graham cracker, and then I feel like there's like an extra kind of sweetness there that I can't classify because if you're
Well,
a
hopefully
brewer.
that sweetness tastes like blueberry.
Oh,
Or it might
okay.
be
All right.
it might be the lactose.
Yeah,
Like
it
the
could
milk
be,
sugar.
It could be the milk lactose too. Yeah, but hopefully it's the blueberry.
I do get the lactose in there in terms of like the viscosity, but not in terms of like a flavor profile.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think it works good. I like the I definitely taste the graham cracker, a little bit of cinnamon in it. Blueberry for sure.
Good.
I'm getting out
Good.
of that. This is a really good beer.
I
Thank
keep
you.
forgetting to do this for the camera. Usually I have a camera in front of me. I'm like, hey, check it out.
Check it out.
It's on our side
On the
today.
side this time.
But no, this is it's easier to drink than I would have expected, but kettle sours
Just a
continue
rinse.
to surprise me every time I have one, and it
Mhm.
reminds me how much I like them. They're
Well,
refreshing.
this isn't a kettle sour though.
Oh, it's not.
This
Sorry.
goes.
Gose.
It's a Gose.
God,
no,
I misheard earlier. I was
we
like,
got
okay.
we got a kettle sour type beer coming up,
Yeah,
and again we could talk about that in the future
totally.
or in the next.
So
10
I like both
Near
kettle
future.
sours and goses then.
Yeah.
Shoot,
Yeah,
man.
you might. I mean, I don't know. I don't know your.
I'm
taste
gonna have
buds.
to have one side by side for my consumer
Yeah.
dumb brain.
No,
you know,
that's a good, but that's a good way to do it. I mean,
Yes.
like I'm not a huge IPA fan, so if I have different IPAs in front of me,
Mm.
whether it's just a regular IPA, a double hopped, triple quad, oof, but it's a way to distinguish and taste the difference between them.
yeah,
So if you're fighting between sours and kettle sours and gozas, taste them side by side.
Yeah.
that makes sense.
That'll-
That would be good for a person like me because I have a hard time telling, like, because I asked you the question, what's the difference between a Gose and maybe like a sour,
Mhm.
and like how does that process differ? So tasting
Mhm.
them side by side would
Yeah.
be good.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I could definitely get educated on that.
educated.
Educated.
Damn, this one on a day like today, humidity it goes
Yeah.
well with. Man,
And we're outside too,
Yes,
so the
yes.
humidity is definitely showing its face.
Yeah.
I'm feeling a lot better after this beer though.
Yeah.
Like, I'm cooling down. At least I think so.
Well, the sun is also
The sun's
That's
going
true.
down.
Cool
That's
as
true.
a cucumber. It's like cool as a blueberry.
Ah, yes.
So, question for you, Keith.
answer.
The beginnings of Dark Shadow. Where did the name come from?
Mm.
So, great
Me.
question.
You did it without poise. I need some poise for me.
That's a great question.
There you go.
Thank
All
you
right.
for asking.
All right.
Now, so as with a lot of businesses, you try to go through names and try and figure out what you want to name your business, what's going to be kind of catchy, what people might like. And we were struggling with names, trying to figure things out. And Rachel and I had gone to New Orleans, just as a little vacation trip and stuff. And so on the way back, I'm like, we really need to figure out a name. We're struggling. We can't figure something out.
Hmm.
And I'm like, one of the things that people often name their stuff over is campy 60s TV shows called Dark Shadows. We have nothing to do with that.
Whoa.
Nothing at all. Zero. I didn't even know Dark Shadows existed until we created this brand.
Hmm.
So on the way back, as I was saying, we were talking about pets, and I'm like, they name their stuff after pets. And so my first pet was a little black lab mix named Shadow.
Okay.
And so I'm like, oh, Shadow. And so I brought that up, and we're trying to think what can go with Shadow. And she's like, well, we were just doing like this ghost adventure or hunting and ghost tours and things of that nature. It was,
Ghosts are real, by the way. I'm 120% convinced.
so
ghosts are real.
you're in
You
her
should talk
camp,
to me
and I'm in the
because-
camp of I need to see the evidence. Thank you very much.
It doesn't matter.
Because
They
my
exist.
side job is paranormal investigator. So
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
One of your side jobs.
yeah, my many side jobs.
So anyway, we came up driving back. I think she's the one who said Dark Shadow, or one of us said Dark Shadow, and we're like, oh, that sounds really good. Let's discuss this with the team. We did, and everyone thought that was a great name, and yeah, it worked. So technically, it's named after me dog.
Okay.
Family dog.
Family
dog and ghost hunting.
Hey, heck yeah.
And then the logo has
The best
two
a
things
bit more
in the
to
world.
do
So
with
the logo,
like
I
New
think-
Orleans.
Hold it up,
Yeah.
Mitch. Let him
So-
see it.
I'll get it closer.
Yeah, the logo was the thought process of, as you could probably figure out, like a Jack the Ripper, 1880s London fog type thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's pretty solid. I may tweak it a skosh, but not much. I like the fact that you can't tell if he's looking at you or looking away.
Yeah. The
It's
silhouette's
it's
nice.
really foggy. It's just like a spooky type of
Mhm.
what is this? What's going on?
And it
Yeah.
plays well
Let me
into
see.
it plays well into the glass that you guys had too. And I saw it for
Yeah.
the first time when you guys were at the Preds Beer Fest
Yeah.
last weekend.
Oh.
And Mitch, they had I was walking around. I think you were at the table still,
It
but
was everywhere. I don't know.
yeah, we were both everywhere that weekend.
Yeah, we were.
But you guys had a beer glass like this, and it's on your website too. It's on your website for purchase. But you guys had a dark glass like this that was just completely blacked
Yeah.
out.
So one of
Big
the things
fan, completely
Right.
like top to bottom, underneath, completely blacked.
we were
out.
looking at glasses, and I don't know how she found it, but of course our expertise person here with
the ghost
everything-
hunter.
Yes, she found a black glass, and
Yeah.
she's like, "Black? No one has black. This is
No.
amazing." And I said, "But they're going to kind of like reverse the logo." She's like, "I don't care. It's going to look great."
Hmm.
And so, sure enough, we ordered some, and yeah, they turned out way better than I expected. And
Yeah, so he's all in white
on the
instead.
glass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
because it's a black glass,
It's a black glass, and it's a good look too. Mitch,
Yeah.
Living Waters,
Yeah.
the matte black bottles.
Yes.
At Living Water, like there's not a lot of people that are doing black glasses, black bottles. So like
Right.
when you
True.
see a black bottle out in the wild, you definitely like it
Yeah,
stands
well, I
out. And
think
when you see a glass as well,
Yes.
like it stuck out to me when I was at the festival.
it's differences. It's something that stands out. We were big wine people at one point because we lived right by Napa Valley, and there was this one winery that was selling their wine in a steel bottle.
Whoa.
like chrome.
Whether whether it was good or bad, it didn't matter.
Differentiator.
I had to buy it.
Yep.
And we drank it, of course, but we still have the bottle because it's so different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you
Really
you
cool.
see something different and it catches your eye, you might get it just because of that.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, in my mind, that besides the logo and everything, it was the black glass, and it really does stand out.
And oftentimes when somebody's looking at a beer, they can get some preconceived notions about how it's going to taste or how it's going to be. Case in point, Chad at Tenfold,
Oh, yeah.
when we were talking with Chad last weekend at the festival, and we brought up, it was a dark beer. It's like, oh, is it going to be heavy? And he was like, dark beers aren't supposed to always be heavy. Like
That's true.
dark beers
That's right.
inherently
Yeah.
aren't heavy.
Yeah.
But
so
people get that idea.
Get that
right.
idea
Yeah.
out of your head.
Chad's a great guy. He's really smart. He knows what he's doing. I mean,
Mhm.
hopefully in the future we'll be able to collaborate with him.
Yeah.
I know he's
We've
really
talked about
busy.
it.
Yeah, he's really busy, but yeah, he knows what he's doing, and
Mhm.
he's yeah.
Absolutely
If
right
Chad's
on
telling
that,
you that, it's true though. I mean,
Yes.
And having a black glass, in my opinion, like if you're pouring something in it,
it's a mystery.
yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's a dark shadow. Literally, like it takes all notions out of your head about what I'm supposed to expect from this beer, because
Yeah.
we did it when we poured this one. We were like, oh, what does it look like?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have, I've got, this is what this beer looks like. This is what I'm expecting it to taste like.
It's a
We
great
didn't finish
testing vessel for, you want a blind tasting, you get a black glass kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I love the idea of the black glass because it's figure out what you taste and then we'll tell you kind of thing. That's an aside to it, but I would buy one just on that fact,
And the lamppost, we were shooting for the lamppost with the whole 1800s.
Well,
1800s.
it's in
And-
New Orleans.
Right.
That is
This-
definitely.
And what's
Yes.
what's
I like it.
amazing is the last time we went to New Orleans, there was one of those street painters out there.
Oh,
And
Right around Jackson
yeah,
Square.
we showed him the picture, and we're like, can you draw this? Because he had something similar to it. He's like, I can get that done in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. We're like, well, take your time. We're gonna go walk. And what was really amazing is again, if you look at the picture, he's cut off at the waist, kind of.
yeah.
When he drew the picture for us, he drew it full body. He put legs on him, and I'm like, I didn't even think about how that would look, and the way he drew it was absolutely amazing. I mean, like it hit
was
everything.
like perfect. We
Yes,
were like,
it wasn't.
just fits. It all worked.
He made it was like a
Man.
long jacket, came down to high boots because he
Yeah.
put little boots on them, and it was amazing how he drew what we were thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it all revolves around New Orleans and or 1880s London.
And that's fine. having you guys' history, ingrained into your logo when you're making something. I mean, because that's where the thought of beer comes from when you're brewing it. Especially, it's got to have you in it a little bit. He's having a hard time. Keith hasn't even been drinking that much.
New Orleans is fun.
I don't have nails.
Ah, gotcha.
Me neither. I cut them all the way down.
Yeah.
I always have to use something. The New Orleans was fun. I've been a couple times.
Yeah.
There's a few places that are just super fun to go to every time.
Mhm.
But I always find something new.
We
there,
went
too.
over Christmas.
Yeah.
And Brew Car. It's a brewery there.
I haven't seen that.
Is it?
Ryu Carre.
Oh, sorry, Beer Car. So we met one of our friends there. His name is Tom, and he met us there, and he's like, "This place is always open on Christmas."
Oh,
Well, it turns out we went. He was going to go there, and the guy got stuck in some sort of snowstorm. He couldn't get out, so it was closed. The only time it was ever closed on Christmas, and so he called around and he actually got a hold of him, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll open on Christmas." And we walked over there, and it was an amazing little brewery, and little things you find in New Orleans you wouldn't expect because it's a little bit off the beaten path.
Sure.
And it was such a small
Still in the
brewery.
French Quarter, though.
Yeah, and it was such a small brewery, but he did such good work in the space he had. It was amazing. And then for him to show up on Christmas and open, and then after we were there, because we were the first ones there, so many people started coming in. It was like, this is amazing. It's
New
Christmas
Orleans,
Day.
man.
Support the homies when they
Yeah,
open.
Yeah.
we did. We bought a glass and all that.
And then we had drinking dinosaurs with us, too.
Oh,
Man. Well, one of Tom,
What?
if this isn't edited out, one of Tom's things was he had dinosaur drinking buddies. So he bought like those like plastic toy into like a tube of dinosaurs.
yeah.
And when he would go out, and if someone was sitting there or he just felt like it, he'd go up to him with a handful of dinosaurs and said, "You need a dinosaur drinking buddy.
No.
Go ahead and pick one." Oh yeah,
love
we had two.
So he was all over, like, he was hanging off my glass. He
Nice.
was against my
Nice.
glass,
Yeah.
posing all
Dinosaur
over.
drinking
Man,
buddy.
hey, to each his own. You know what I'm saying?
People loved it.
Yeah.
It was great.
It got people talking.
Yeah.
I think that was probably like his biggest thing.
But again, it's like you said, it's like finding these and supporting these breweries that sometimes you have no idea they're even there.
Mhm.
yeah.
Thus, Zahn today.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
This
Yes.
is the nation's.
This is I completely lost. So but while we're getting to the next beer, this is the Midwest Brown IPA. I'll let
Correct.
you talk about that one in just a second. Keith's favorite. I know he loves hops and I know he loves IPAs. I want to. This is a good place to bring this up. So, I was thinking about Mitch the Dark Shadow beers that I've had historically, because you guys are at a lot of beer festivals.
Well, we tried. I mean, before we open, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but before we open up a location, the idea is to become as
brand agnostic, brand
Yes.
awareness.
Yeah.
100% as
Absolutely.
possible. And so we're trying to do as many fests
Get
as
a
possible.
following.
Mhm.
If we can get out there, people can see us, people can understand what we're doing, and also enjoy our beer. I mean, obviously, a beer fest, most people are going to say, "Oh, that beer was great," but
There's honest feedback. I feel like at brew festivals.
Yeah.
No?
Depending
Well,
on
depending-
how many beers
The
they've
state
had.
of beer, the state
you
of their
you gotta
mind.
realize
Okay.
everyone's getting free beer at a
Yes.
so they're going to obviously end up saying, "Yeah, this is good," or there's very, very few people who are going to say, "No, this wasn't for me," or "You could have done this instead," or something like that.
And that's fair. But I think what sticks out in my mind specifically about Dark Shadow is I think when I had this thought, it was at the Common John family reunion.
And we'll be back to that as well. This year.
Oh, you guys going to it this year as well?
Yeah.
Awesome. Shout out LeBron, John, Common John.
Yes.
Those guys are great.
Oh, they are.
Hands down, I would, not the John. He's a John, as like he says.
But he's almost.
But he's
the
almost
John.
the John. He's always
He's
there.
everywhere.
LeBron calls him the CFO, the Chief Fun Officer.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But one of the things about Dark Shadow is, and I specifically remember seeing this with Rachel, you and Michelle was there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to get into the whole Beer Babes thing in a few minutes. But you guys were sporting a cross between Beer Babes and Dark Shadow Brewing, like in your swag. But I remember tasting, and I don't specifically remember which beer it was at the Common John Beer Festival, but I remember leaving, and I said this to Mitch. He may or may not remember this in his drunken state, but I said, it's funny because all these guys, like when they show up, they bring IPAs, they bring pale ales, they bring this stuff. Is like, but Dark Shadow always shows up with a unique spin on their beer.
Yeah, that's true.
And case in point, like you guys have pickle beers, you have jalapeno IPAs, and you have this case in point at the beer festival, you guys had a pickle beer that had some heat to it.
No, the heat was the jalapeno.
Yes.
So
the Mexican lager,
the Mexican jalapeno lager.
Yeah, so the jalapeno lager we've done twice. The first time we did it, we de-spined and de-seeded the jalapenos to make a jalapeno
with no
Mexican
heat.
lager with no
with
heat.
no heat.
Other
So
than
it had
the heat that burned the shit out of my hands.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, even with the gloves, I started without gloves. I'm like, this isn't bad doing this to the jalapenos. Then my hands started getting warm.
Like as you start getting
well,
into
they started getting warm, and so I put gloves on. The gloves didn't do anything. My hands literally were burning. I could only ease the burn with an ice pack and holding an ice pack.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is so stupid. This
He
is the
even
dumbest.
tried like
this is
putting like sour cream
I tried
on
sour
it,
cream.
milk
I tried
and-
milk. I tried
I didn't
washing
even know
them
that would
multiple
happen
times.
to your hands if you're using.
Oh my god, it did.
I think it's
food
the
grade gloves
capsaicin.
or what?
Well, my brother said they were food grade gloves, but apparently they
Your
may
brother
not-
was wrong.
Maybe
And
they
he
weren't.
works in
Yeah, he
the
does work in-
restaurant.
I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, that was the dumbest thing I ever did was to do the jalapenos without gloves.
If that's the dumbest thing you've ever did, then you're succeeding as a male. I'll tell you that
that's
much.
Okay, well, I'm sure
It's
there's a lot-
probably not the dumbest thing you've ever
It
done.
might have been the dumbest thing I ever
Your
did. while
counterpart sitting
brewing.
next to you would beg to differ.
Yes,
I
it
bet.
might have been the dumbest thing I ever did while brewing.
There you
How
go.
about
you go.
trying to find this cooler down here in
There you go.
the closet?
Man.
But
It's
anyway,
not
so
there.
and then we did a second iteration of it because we got feedback that it was really good, but there were so many people like, we want
Too
the
hot?
heat.
Oh, they
wanted
did.
to eat
Oh,
'cause
you
it was
wanted.
no heat.
That's right. Because
So the second time we did it with the heat, and that was the one at Preds Fest, which was people loved. So
interesting.
That was the right balance of heat
yeah,
with the roastiness of the pepper, like that flavor.
yeah.
My wife would call the pepper flavor dirt flavor, but
Okay.
I disagree.
It was again. It's kind of like I guess an experiment is the best way to say it. Is because we used the same amount of pepper for both batches.
Yeah.
We didn't know how the
Little bit.
heat would come through,
So
and so we taste our beer as we're brewing it, fermenting it, and throwing it into the keg.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, if there's too much or not, I mean, if there's too much heat, there's only so many things you could do. But if there's not enough,
Yeah.
we can always add more at certain stages.
That earthy flavor, the dirt flavor, was awesome with
Good.
that heat.
Yeah.
I didn't get
I'm
a chance
fan
to
of
try
peppers.
Oh,
I'm
you
a fan
suck.
of peppers.
That's true. I didn't get it. Yeah, that is me in
I'm
general.
actually really liking this.
I'm not.
But
I'm
I
not
like
opposed to the
IPAs,
Midwest
so.
IPA.
No,
So this is the Midwest IPA,
Yeah, let's talk about this
and
one.
so it's 7.1. My brother, we were born and raised in the Midwest, i.e., Chicago area, and there's West Coast IPAs, there's New England IPAs, so both ends of the coast.
Yeah.
But there's really no like Midwest. I mean, there's a standard IPA,
Yeah.
but that's whatever.
There's
standard.
the quintessential
So
IPA.
he tried to
like-
do what he called a Midwest IPA. Came out as a Midwest brown, obviously the color. And
What attributes that to the brown? Is it the malts that are used?
yeah.
Okay.
And when it comes to IPAs, I need to do more, but I typically don't brew our IPAs because I'm not a hop fan. If his motto is the hoppier, the happier, my motto is not that.
Not that.
Not always.
I was waiting what was coming out of your mouth, and you didn't have something in the tank, did you?
Maybe, but
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not. I can drink certain IPAs. I just don't like when they get way hoppy on that. So
Okay.
he loves the hops. He does well with our IPAs. I think when we come up with recipes and we come up with an idea, he builds a recipe that usually turns out pretty amazing. So as far as the Midwest, it's not my favorite because I'm not an IPA guy.
It's not a beer for Keith.
So again, that Tom guy with the dinosaurs, that's his favorite phrase. If he doesn't like a beer, he won't say it's
Tom.
bad. He'll just say it's not a beer for Tom.
It's not a beer for
Which
Tom.
is a very polite way of saying that it's not really great.
Well, because I think it's
not for him.
subjective, right?
Right.
Like drinking beer is subjective.
It very much
Everybody's
is.
got their taste that they like.
Yeah, look at Untapped.
Yeah,
No.
exactly.
Or
And that's
don't
why-
look at
that's-
Untapped.
That's why we stray away from Untapped.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I just tasted it again, and it's like not for me.
It's not for Tom.
It's my beer, but it's not for me.
Yeah, it's not for Keith.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's not for Keith.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but you like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you like hops, you like IPAs.
On the nose, the color makes me think it's something different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of
Right.
course.
You think it's
Right.
like a maltier.
Right.
Like
yeah.
what you're saying.
Like a
Malt
brown ale
forward.
or a brown.
Yeah.
It does kind of remind me of more of a brown ale with an extra hop profile
Yes.
than it
Yeah.
does a regular IPA, but
And that's
It-
where it may have ended up. I don't know.
yeah,
I mean,
but it also doesn't pour like an IPA. It doesn't look like an IPA.
Right.
It's more of a West Coast brown or Midwest brown, as it were.
well,
With some additional hop profile on it. So I think he nailed it. If that was what he was going for,
That's what he was going for.
that's what he definitely nailed it. Hoppy profile. The IBUs don't seem to be too off the charts. It doesn't seem to be extremely bitter to
No.
me. I'm definitely picking up some roasty, some caramel malts on it,
Yes.
which I think is muting the hops a little bit. But it's my kind of beer. I like this stuff, and I would drink this all day.
Yeah. At the end of the, I'm trying to think of the right word to say. The beer's starting to hit, but the dryness always brings you back in. You kind of need those bitter notes at the end, and he pulled it off with this one. It's kind of a journey. It's a Midland journey.
Well, sometimes you have to. I mean, like with a lot of our beers, you have to kind of experiment.
Midwest.
You have to go out there and you have to give things a try, and you have to experiment to see what you're going to get and what's going to come up. And I think we've only really had one beer that we didn't love. It didn't really work out. So far, I think we've been doing pretty well in the fact that we haven't had a dump of beer, other than one that I think in the long run it ended up like 2.5% of ABV or something. It just
That thing didn't grow
really
like it
low.
should have.
it's some we can't figure it out. We can't figure out what went wrong with that batch, other than there was a
Maybe the
potential.
yeast or something
Potential
wasn't-
for the yeast was bad.
Yeah.
Did you try brewing it again, or?
Oh
is it
yeah,
just-
yeah. This is a beer that
And it came out
we know
okay.
what to
Yeah.
do. Oh yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. It was our one of our staples is a dark lager,
Interesting.
and it's one that I've rarely gotten bad feedback on. And for some reason, when this time it was brewed, that time it was brewed, I don't know what happened. I didn't. Well,
It has to
not
be
to
the
save
only
my
thing
own
we could.
my own face, but I didn't brew that one.
So he's trying to save his own face.
It's the ghost.
So
ghosts were
yeah, the
messing with it for
ghost
sure.
chose to knock the ABV down to like
Yeah.
2 point, and we couldn't
can
figure.
figure
It
the
wasn't
other
bad. I mean, we tasted it, and it really wasn't bad, but it's not our beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, we can't. I didn't feel comfortable serving.
I
it.
appreciate that. I
Yeah,
appreciate.
he was like, "Well, you can drink it at home.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly
Drink
what
it at home all you want.
Mhm.
That's
Enjoy.
one of the benefits of brewing close to where you live is
Yeah.
you can drink whatever you
Just
decide not
roll
to
it
put
on
out into
inside
the
of
wild.
kegerator.
Yeah. So I have a
Whoops,
question.
we got to drink this. We can't sell it.
Darn.
Looks like we have 5 gallons of beer that we're going to have to split between the two of us.
Put it on the garage door. Free
Hot.
beer.
Exactly.
Darn it.
So question for you then, Rachel. This
Yes.
is a point in time where I think I want to bring this up, and we mentioned it a few minutes ago that Dark Shadow is always brewing something different. Like and you guys have your regulars that you like brewing, but you're always trying to find something different.
Yep.
And I definitely noticed that when we were at the beer festival, and it's always something. It's you guys' unique spin on a beer, whether it's a jalapeno beer or an orange IPA or something like that. It's always you guys' spin. But the beer babes kind of like collaboration that falls into Dark Shadow, because you guys, or ladies, I should say, is collaborating with different breweries, and you're always coming out with a different beer for your Bay Brew. So tell me a little bit about that, because it feels like it's always something different when you guys are releasing something on the Brew Babe side, when you're doing a collaboration, which ties in very nicely to how you guys do your brewing at Dark Shadow.
So the way Beer Babes works. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Please. So
I'm going to take Rachel's opinion on this one. I feel like
as you should,
as I should.
Well, Beer Babes itself, the Beer Babes family, is sort of a brainchild between Roxy and another Rachel, that lives in Phoenix, and Roxy's in Canada. So I think it came about during COVID time that they decided. I think they just started because I know that both of them work at breweries. In those areas. So
how convenient.
I think that what they found is there's not a good representation of females in the beer industry.
For sure.
Absolutely.
And so what they wanted to do is that they were realizing there's more and more women who are drinking beer, who are working in the beer industry, who are doing more than just serving the beer, that they're actually, that's what I'm getting to. Jeez.
Sorry.
All the way up from beer tender to brewer.
Yeah,
right? It runs the gamut, and beer drinker, of course. And so there are a lot of us across this country who fall into one of those categories, and I think that they started building this community of women who were falling on that spectrum, right? And they really, I'm going to shoot him.
I missed it. Sorry. I'm looking up a brewery for this conversation.
I mean, not to interrupt, but you keep blocking yourself.
There we go.
Please. Okay.
Go ahead.
And I'm comfortable.
She's comfortable. Keep going.
Anyways,
You're good.
So, I mean, what they decided to do was to start, instead of just doing merch, which was kind of what they were doing before, was to sort of what they wanted to do, I think ultimately was to create a nonprofit that really went back and supported women in the brewing industry. And so that's where Bay Brew came about. And I think we were the second or third. And they were, so he says we're the third. We were the third
Pretty sure it was
brewery to sort of collaborate with them, and decide to do a beer. And we roped in our friend Mark from Common Law.
We did it in 2 steps, and Grayson came up with the recipe, and it turned out actually amazing.
Grayson's a great dude, by the way.
Yeah.
No doubt. He
Yeah,
just
he's
opened Cyanide Cider this weekend.
Shout out Cyanide.
Yep, Cyanide Cider is his cidery, so he's got the Crazy Noman's cidery, and he was one of the first brewers we met when we came here. We came here, and when we first started in the whole brewery thing, we started going to breweries to talk to brewers, see how they're doing things. And it's sidetracking. And Grayson turned out to be one of the first ones. We sat at the bar and we started talking, and we started asking him about the brewery, and we didn't even know he was Grayson. We didn't know he owned it or anything else like that.
He was the guy of Crazy Gnome Brewing.
And ever since then, he's been a real good a person to talk to regarding this and anything to do. And then and then when we did the Beer Babes, that was the last release that we did here in Nashville, and obviously he was part of that as Crazy Gnome and the Beer Babes came down. But go ahead and finish with your Beer Babes.
And you want to
sidetrack me.
Yeah, you're sidetracking her.
Sorry. Oh God, can't even.
The Beer Babes it's a cool collaboration because it's something different every time.
It is.
It is, yeah.
And
across the country.
That's the goal, yeah.
Yes.
As a craft brew person, I chase the new.
Maybe we can say across North America,
right? Because of
because of Canada,
right? They do
a lot in Canada.
Right, they do a lot in Canada.
Okay,
because
they do
because one of the Beer
Roxy
Babes
lives
in Canada.
So they collaborate with a lot of breweries.
So
who
are the members of the Beer Babes family? There's you.
There's a lot.
There's
a lot.
Okay.
So I'm just considered one of the ambassadors.
Gotcha. Okay.
But
no such thing as just in the beer community, by the way.
Dude.
Yeah, Michelle and I are both ambassadors for the Beer Babes.
Mm-hmm.
And so we basically, go out there, talk about, Beer Babes, what we do, try to get other breweries interested in brewing beer with us.
Yeah.
And raising that whole level of mentality that it's definitely lopsided. Like the beer industry is a male dominated industry.
Yeah, sure.
There's no denying that.
But there's no reason why it should be.
Right.
It's just like that.
And so even like with at Crazy Gnome, it was definitely with the help of Grayson, but it was all us. We gathered a bunch of women who what part of it was from Girls Pine Out as well joined.
Oh.
Yeah. And we brewed the beer.
That's awesome. Man.
And shout out to Grayson too, because you want to talk about a dude that has been through a lot.
Oh my God.
Yeah, with his whole start of his
everything.
Yeah, that's insane.
We talked with
so maybe it's coming around full circle for him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Grayson definitely deserves what he has today.
He's worked for it.
Coming from the whole, starting out with tornadoes and COVID during the lockdown, and just like the dude couldn't catch a break.
Man, yeah. Hopefully, no two tornadoes hit.
Yeah.
Do we want to take a break before the last beer?
Yeah,
sure.
That sounds good. We'll take a rinse break, and then we'll come right back.
All right.
Skibbity is a Gen Z word for sure.
Skibbity boo bop.
It is.
Skibbity. I don't even know what it means, but
what is
we
it?
learned.
Yes, Rain, what does it mean?
Well, it can either mean like
it's a positive
good
or
or
negative.
bad.
Yes.
good or bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course, it
Kinda
could
like-
mean either or. Of course, it could be.
So
So
they
we're
use it with all these weird terms like skibbity yeet or whatever.
this should be a whole episode on itself.
Just
Is like
skibbity.
millennials
Oh yeah, talk.
and Gen X
Well, that
talking
was one
about
of the-
Gen Z and
that was
alpha
one of the things we were
lingos.
talking
Like that
about,
could
is
be
like-
a whole thing.
Like in our growing up, it was like you had terms and words, but they were still terms and words. They just meant different things. This generation is making up words,
yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
skibbity.
Well, not to mention the terms we use growing up are still used
Yes,
today.
exactly.
Right.
It's not like they're particularly
Right.
popular with one generation.
Right.
Like awesome, cool, like all those are still
Yeah.
used today. So it's not like
I just love the
Gag
fact
me
that
with
I,
a spoon.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
I just love the fact
Totally
that when I brought up
radical.
Marshmallow and Dead Mouse and stuff, she's like,
Yeah, I know.
"Who?" I said, "Marshmallow and Dead Mouse." She's like, "Who are you?"
I don't know you.
You are
anymore.
hip, Keith. You are hip
Well-
and cool.
I'm only hip this much.
Okay, that's a little bit. That's enough. So you guys brought one more for us.
Yes,
today.
we did.
We did.
This is a very wild card for me. Black cherry is not something I'm familiar with. Do like IPAs, so I feel like that's gonna hit right. But
I do tend to shy away from IPAs.
Uh-huh.
Hoppy is not.
but you
my
talked very
thing.
highly of this
Well,
one.
because we have brewed this IPA multiple times.
Mhm.
We actually had one person tell us that they didn't like cherry at all, and when they tried this, they said it was their favorite beer at the fest.
Okay.
So it's weird to say you don't like cherry, but then all of a sudden you're the black cherry was your favorite beer. So
And they forked over their
It's-
token
yeah.
for the win.
so it's a beer that I think that we do well.
Okay.
And I think you're going to enjoy it. It is 8.6, so it's a little bit
high
higher.
boy. That's
yeah,
a
it's
big
a little
boy.
bit higher.
Yeah. Pop
Did,
it open.
does he
Let's go.
he hops it after, like dry hops it too.
Yeah. This is one of the ones that's hopped and then dry hopped.
You can see
So which festival was this one at?
This has been at multiple fests.
Okay.
it was at Shakespeare too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where the Blonde Ale won the award, right?
Well, the Blonde Ale just ran away with it. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, there was again when you have people that like certain things and they say they don't like other things. We had one person say, "I am not a lavender fan. I don't like lavender."
But they
And
love the
then
lavender.
they tried it and they're like, "Okay," and then all of a sudden they're like, "I'm getting it on the back end," and they're like, "Wow, this is way better than I would have ever expected." And so someone who said they didn't like lavender
Mhm.
all of a sudden liked that beer. And it's for me, I wouldn't try something I didn't like. So to hear someone say, "I don't like this," they try it and they like it, either we're doing something right or they're wrong in what they like.
No, but I think it's like breaking their typical thoughts about how it's supposed to taste, right?
Well, and that goes back to our conversation about having the glass, right? When you're looking at something, you can get a preconceived notion of how a beer is supposed to taste just by its look.
Because we're tasting it with our eyes.
Yeah.
Like we're tasting it with all our senses.
Absolutely. Your nose is kind of like the biggest contributor to tasting a beer, which is why you want to drink something out of your glass. And then the second thing is, before you taste it, is what you see out of the beer.
Oh, yeah.
And on the nose, I'm not getting a lot of black cherry.
Okay.
I'm not getting a lot of black cherry on the nose.
But you are?
I'm not.
See, it's not.
I don't.
mean,
but again,
subjective.
Truth be told, when we said at the beginning, I don't know a lot about black cherry,
then
so
when
I'm
you
not
try
getting
it. What happens?
I don't know because
Well,
I haven't tried it yet.
So then try it.
I'm about to.
You gotta try it.
We're going through. We're going through the steps.
It's good to try new things.
It's like when you go through that. That's true.
No, I get it. It's just, see, so that's one of the things that slows me down. I understand smelling it, tasting it, taking your time, but for me, it's just I just skip the whole thing. I'm like, just taste it. Yeah. Just taste it. Tell me what you think.
There's no wrong way.
That's true.
No, there's not. But
this comes from a man who doesn't like to try new things.
someone who's got me into sushi. Damn it!
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, but only
it's
fried.
Not real.
Only
It's
fried.
only fried.
Yes.
Like the whole roll kind of-
Yes.
Those are really good.
Yeah, I won't do like
But
the
he won't
whole-
do raw.
You
No.
won't do raw sushi.
No.
Okay.
No.
So when I smell this on the nose, I don't get a lot of black cherry.
Okay.
That is just me.
That's right.
I don't know. And it could be there's an unidentified smell to
I
me.
get D, E, and F.
And it could be the cherry, and I just I'm ignorant to it. I don't know.
If I didn't know what it was, I might have said dark fruit or
Okay.
or something.
Okay.
Well, and a black cherry is a dark fruit.
Yeah.
Heard.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go into the taste.
All right.
He's going into it. He tastes it. He's thinking about it. Smacking his lips.
So there's sweet and tart.
Cherries.
Which is what?
Okay. I have no profile when it comes to cherry, so I don't know.
So you don't eat cherries
I've
in general.
never had one in my entire life. I don't know. I don't like cherry flavored
But you
things
just
because I don't
explained
eat
the
them.
cherry, sweet and tart.
Well, there you go. That's what it is. Again, I don't get it on the nose, but
The fake cherries?
The maraschino.
Yeah.
I don't even know what those are.
Those are the ones in the drinks.
No, all of my milkshakes come without whip and without cherry. So I specifically order them
That's what she
without
said.
whip and
Never
no
had
cherry.
a Shirley Temple?
Nope.
Oh,
There's-
you're
nope.
missing out on life.
Nope.
Alcoholic dark cherries.
Nope.
Oh,
Can't say I've ever had it.
Oh.
So again,
You know, I agree with you though. I'm not a huge cherry fan. It's not going to be my fruit of choice. I won't go to a and like you with a milkshake, I would probably leave the cherry off, or someone else would get it.
Mhm.
But after brewing and tasting, you have to, from a brewer standpoint, you have to taste this stuff to understand what it's going to taste
that's
like
fair.
in the future.
Yeah.
So while it might not be my cup of tea, I might not like IPAs, I might not like mango or something like that, or peach.
Mhm.
And the peach is a whole different story. We'll save that for another podcast. But it's things that we're going to brew
It
with,
involves
and it's
schnapps.
things I'm going to taste to ensure that we're doing the right thing.
Sure.
So, like you, cherry, no, but
You have to be able to identify the flavor profile
correct,
when you're brewing.
correct,
Yeah, absolutely.
and
Somewhat.
make sure it's not too heavy or too light.
Mhm.
Or at least one of us does.
Yeah, well,
That's true.
but we all tasted.
Yeah.
So, well, one of us might say that's a little heavy. One of us might say a little light. We do that while we're brewing to ensure we're trying to get the right taste down
For sure.
when it's finished.
And what you're getting here is an unbiased opinion of somebody that doesn't know what that flavor profile
And that
is.
opinion
Yeah.
is what?
Um,
Exactly.
Derp.
Let me rephrase. When I say opinion, I'm talking about I'm trying to feel out the flavors that I'm getting in this
Right,
beer.
and there's something that's your taste profile.
I definitely get tart and I get sweet, which I found out today is
Cherry.
a cherry profile, which is good. I like it. It's definitely something that I would drink. I kind of vibe with the person that you were talking about earlier, where it was
And
like,
how-
I don't like black cherries.
How is the hop profile?
It to me medium. Like I
Okay.
think it's there. It's prevalent. It's not. It's definitely
Overpowering.
To me, I think it's
Prevailing.
hoppier than the Midwest Brown IPA.
As it should be.
Yeah, but it's also it's balanced out nicely with the sweetness and the tartness that apparently is the cherry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Big fan. By the way, that's the final opinion. Big fan of the beer.
Big fan.
Yeah.
Big fan.
Oh,
But I definitely
Yeah.
vibe with that guy who's like, well, I don't like black cherries, but that's just I don't like them. I never had them before.
Well,
So
I don't know
I'm
that
trying
he
it,
never
too.
said that he never had them. We didn't get that in depth during the during the fest, but he just said he doesn't like cherry.
Yeah.
And then he kept drinking it and said it was his favorite beer. And
Hmm.
you know, we looked at each other like, really?
But why though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would you like this if you don't like cherry?
And
It
what's the
doesn't make
ABV on
sense.
this one?
8.6.
8.6.
So yeah, I think it's one of our highest ones. We're coming up with a vanilla doppelbock that we're shooting to be a little
Ooh.
higher.
That could be really good.
It's our next fest,
Yes.
Music City.
again,
Yep.
that was my idea.
So we're yeah. Well, we were
The
again,
brainchild
Yeah,
behind all the
we
recipes.
were trying to come up. So when we do fests, we like to keep a staple. Last year we tried to bring like the dark lager to every fest because that's like our staple, but it kind of got monotonous. So we want to try and continue with certain staples that, like when we open our brewery, we're always going to have on tap the dark lager, the
Blood Moon,
black raspberry red ale, and maybe a couple others. The hibiscus
Rosehip.
rosehip ale has been a winner every time. Preds Fest, I think it was the first one to go. People really like that because it's like a beer, but it's also
So
like a
like a
red
red
wine.
wine.
Yeah, so it's like a combination of a
okay.
beer. Yeah,
Like
and of
that,
course
the
you,
way the hibiscus
not that
and
you
the
didn't
rosehip
get it at Preds
ferment,
Fest because you didn't come
kinda
around, but you didn't get it
ferments
at
kinda
Preds Fest because
a
you didn't come
grape,
around.
like a
I
red
totally
wine
didn't.
grape.
No.
I totally came around.
So all the
Um,
women usually come around to the
Yeah.
hibiscus
Yeah.
and
And the
and
pickle,
rosehip, and they're like,
the
I could
pickle beer
drink
we've
this
done, we've done the
beer, you know,
pickle
'cause
beer
it's
3
like, it
times,
tastes very much
and
like
each time we've
red
done the pickle
wine.
beer.
yeah,
So each time we've done the pickle beer, it's
Yeah.
actually come out almost exactly the same. So we've really become pretty consistent.
Which is what you want, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
you want
yeah.
that
Yeah,
consistency.
you want consistency.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's always been a winner too. I mean, will that be a staple? I don't know. I mean, we have to have a few staples,
Might be
which we
seasonal.
really like, but we have
Yeah.
we like to bring different things to fests.
Sure.
So when we came to Preds Fest, we had our staple in the VIP, which was our Blood Moon, which was black raspberry red ale. But then we had a handful of different beers. We had the hibiscus rosehip ale. We had the
Pickle.
Mexican lager, which was with heat this time.
Mm-hmm.
We had the pickle rickle, which was our pickle beer. And then we had the orange IPA, orange a twist on the IPA, which is our IPA slammer, because you can slam it.
Mm.
Not hugely high in ABV, but enough to where it's like, this is delicious.
Mm.
And everything went so well. I mean, I do think it was a toss up between the Blood Moon, but that was in the VIP, so they got it early.
Right.
The hibiscus, it always kills. I mean, it's a little harder to make. It's a little bit more expensive to make. So we kind of keep that to certain fests, but we try to do it at least twice a year. And if we open a brewery, or when we open the brewery, I think it'll be close to one of our staples because
It's a hit.
It
It's a
is.
hit.
It really is. I mean, the last time before Preds Fest when we did it at Columbia Pride, and people were like, "This is amazing! It's such a refreshing drink on such a hot day." They were mixing it with the fruit that they had in the ice and everything else. So that was even beyond what I was thinking. It was like, okay, this is just a beer.
Yeah, because they were the red wine. They were thinking, oh, this would be great, almost like as a sangria.
Yes.
So they're like, let
Yep.
me add it.
Ooh,
to
that
my
could-
fruit
yeah,
and
for
my-
The
sure.
fruit and the ice, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
it
that
works
one
really
has
well.
always done well for us. So when we went to Preds Fest and everything went so fast, it was absolutely amazing to me. I thought that for sure we would just have our beers, they would last the whole fest, and it would be a standard fest, but we blew out everything
You
like
kick some kegs early.
Yeah.
at least a half hour to 45 minutes early. Everything was gone.
Yeah.
And
Prospected on the right one.
well, I think we got lucky that time. I mean, you can try and guess what beers to bring to what fests, but as we mentioned earlier,
Credit over here.
no, but it's true. As we mentioned earlier, when it comes to coming up with our beer choices, it's usually Rachel who comes up with the ideas.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the dark lager I'll take credit for, because that was our very first beer. I came up with the recipe, and it was something I brewed as we started. But ever since then, with Craig, myself, and Rachel, we talk about stuff, and it's usually 9 times out of 10 something that she comes up with that we make the beer recipes for. And it most of the time they actually come out amazing.
And they hit right.
And if they're not amazing, they're good.
Yeah.
So we can talk about what we've got upcoming.
Yeah, and so upcoming, we have a few more fests, because again, as fests fests are coming up.
Yeah.
It seems like Nashville has moved to the fall for most of their fests.
Okay.
It used to be kind of spring, but now it's like fall. And so we have Music City coming up next, and with Music City we're going to be doing, as we said, we're going to be doing our vanilla Doppelbock, our dark lager. We have a mango peach sour, and then
that would be really good.
And then we have our grapefruit IPA.
Okay.
So with it being a little warmer,
like you know how like certain IPAs can be grapefruity.
Yeah, because it's going to be warmer outside. Let's keep it to a refreshing type beer.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I think it's Common John. Yeah, Common John.
You guys are going to be at the family reunion again this year.
Common John. And
always a good time
that'll
there.
That'll be our
by
first Martzen. So
in
March,
Martzen beers.
Yeah, in March.
Mitch. Yeah.
As a true Martzen, in March, Craig and myself brewed 3 Martzens, and they've been sitting. They've been sitting in the closet. And
Great.
Yep. So the just like we've always done, we try to do a traditional Martzen where we'll brew it 6, 7, 8 months ahead of time and let it sit. And we've had really good feedback with that.
Good.
So Common John is technically just a skosh before Oktoberfest, like maybe like 4 or 5
But you're
days.
going to bring out the Marzen.
That'll be the first one.
Yeah, for sure.
And so with Common John, we'll have the first Martzen, and then we're going to have an apple pie ale, which is Craig's little
like a brainchild.
A quick story with that is the first time he brewed that, he used to live in Pittsburgh, and he came out to visit us. And he had both a camera and a fan on the Martzen or the apple pie while it was fermenting. And then all of a sudden one day he couldn't see his camera anymore. And he's like, I don't know what happened. And so when he got home, it turned out his apple pie exploded because he used real fruit. And all that extra sugar caused boom.
Yeah.
And the guy was smart enough to put the apple pie in his closet. So it got all over his clothes.
Smart enough. He was smart enough.
So we'll have the apple pie in a better version.
Okay.
We're going to have our West Coast IPA, which has been really well. The Martzen, and then we're going to do a Fruit Loops lager.
That could be tasty.
And we're not going to use Fruit Loops. We've learned
we're going to get the flavor.
through our
we don't want gray beer.
Right. Yeah. We've learned that most people who do a Fruit Loops type lager come up with a gray beer, but our expert has determined what the Fruit Loops taste like. So we've gone and gotten
Hang on a second. What Fruit Loops taste like?
Yes.
It's basically a combination of lemon, lime, and orange.
Okay.
So we've gotten lemon, lime, and orange syrup to combine into the brew.
I appreciate that.
So therefore, it'll taste like a Fruit Loop, but it won't be gray.
And there's some other things that give it the cereal flavor.
Yeah.
The corn flakes, the rice, the oats. Yeah, I'm sorry, oats.
That's going to be a killer beer.
Oh, hopefully.
Yeah. What do you mean, hopefully?
Yes.
It'll be good. It always is. Rachel's the brainchild on it. It's always going to be good.
I always say hopefully because I haven't brewed
you're
it
not
yet.
giving up on that.
Okay. So now the pressure's on you.
Yes. Besides Common John, we've also got the Nashville Brew Fest.
Yep.
Nashville Brew Fest will be another iteration of our Martzen.
Okay.
We're going to have our black IPA. And the black IPA, that's gone over really well.
I love that one.
Standard IPA, but black.
Okay.
So it looks like almost like a porter.
Yeah.
But it's an IPA.
Okay.
Where's the black coming from?
The grains.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think we use a chocolate,
like a dark chocolate.
Chocolate malt and
Gotcha. Okay.
Coffee.
Give off some coffee roasty notes, I think, in the IPA. Yeah.
And then
similar to the Tanasi Brewing Black IPA. It's
with this black IPA, our iteration on it is going to be an atomic habanero. So Craig will go ahead and take some habaneros, cut them up, and put them into the black IPA. So we're gonna spice that little bitch up.
Is
You got your work cut out for you.
And then we've also got the pumpkin ale because it is Oktoberfest at that point.
Absolutely.
And then we'll finish with again the pickle beer.
Okay.
After that, we got a couple more. I mean, we've got Hope and Hops. That's a one in Murfreesboro. They do it for domestic violence, I think it is.
Yeah.
So we'll do some probably canned beers. It's not a huge fest. We may brew a beer for that if we need to, but typically we'll have enough cans based on previous fests to bring there. I think they are growing. I think that their mission is taking off, so that's helpful for us and for them. We have Columbia Oktoberfest.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that will be Columbia is a great fest. Anything they do in Columbia is awesome. I was upset that they canceled their Pride this year. So this time
think they just moved it.
Did they?
Yeah,
I haven't seen them move.
Yeah.
Oh.
They moved it to a different.
But we're gonna go with
Like
a cookie oatmeal cookie stout
So that'd be good.
and a smoked porter ale.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry, smoked s'mores. Smoked s'mores porter.
Okay.
So we'll do the whole marshmallow chocolate and some Rausch grains for a Rausch beer, which is a smoke. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the final one is one that we just recently got involved with. I had no idea was here. Is the Tennessee Beer, Wine, and Shine.
Okay.
That typically rounded out last year to round out this year. It's at the mansion in
Two Rivers Mansion.
Two Rivers Mansion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And that
It's a
one
cool-
will be
cool
that one
space.
dope spot. By
Also
the way.
haunted.
dark.
Totally 100% haunted.
We investigated.
I agree.
Haunted.
There you go.
Maybe.
Right there.
Maybe.
100% haunted.
Haunted.
Yep.
And then we'll go ahead and bring our dark lager there with our Martzen. And we'll also do a hibiscus IPA. So it won't be the hibiscus
Rosehip.
rosehip ale. It's going to be a hibiscus
It'll be an
IPA.
IPA.
So
Okay.
it would be a little turn on
Twist on it.
that. And then
Nice.
finishing with I can't even read that. Something pumpkin ale. Why does it
Oh,
say
yeah.
pumpkin ale? What is that? It looks like benign.
A pumpkin ale.
It can't be benign.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be.
I
It'd
mean,
be
it could
better.
be. I hope it is.
I can't even read my own typing.
Maybe
Yeah.
you Scrunched it.
Oh, maybe it's Belgian pumpkin ale.
Yeah, that's it. We're
Belgian
gonna do
pumpkin
that.
ale.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a Belgian.
So, yeah, we've
that is
got,
a pumpkin.
We've got those fests on the books.
Yes, sounds
yeah,
good.
yeah. And,
Yeah, because
and
I was pushing for
again,
a
it's
Belgian.
we want to continue to bring up different beers,
Yeah.
as well as have some of the staples that we like. I mean, we've heard a lot of good feedback on that Martzen. So for us to get it brewed in March and let it sit, we're hoping we're going to get the same kind of result from
Knock
that.
it right out of
I mean,
the park.
we've got one of her ex-ghost friends' dads was like a solid Oktoberfest Samuel Adams guy. And he gave us the feedback that he actually liked ours better than theirs.
Okay.
So much so that she bought a T-shirt to get the free 4-pack.
There you go. There you go.
So, I mean, again, I would like to say that my beer competes with someone like that, but until I get someone more than just one guy.
Yeah.
But it's feedback, you know,
You gotta
and
get it out
I
there.
really want honest feedback. I don't want everyone to always say my beer is great if there's something not right with
That
it.
you can be improving upon
Yes.
also. Yeah.
You can't make yourself better if you don't know what's wrong. So I want honest feedback. If it's something you tried today was something that wasn't right, I would prefer you to say this is this, and it could have done this instead.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's feedback that we can take back as a team and talk about
For sure.
and figure out, did we use the wrong grains? Did we use the wrong malts?
Or maybe
did we
it just
use the
needs
wrong
a little bit
hops?
more of
Right,
something.
exactly. Like if the lavender did taste like soap, if we got honest opinions or feedback on that and saying, yeah, I think it was a little soapy, and be like, okay, well, we have to back off on the lavender. But, you know, luckily we haven't gotten that feedback.
Right.
But honest feedback is what we want.
Well, and I think that I think that the beers that we all tried today were exactly within the flavor profile that you were expecting to get and the
That's
ones
good.
that you were looking for. To me, the biggest call out was the lavender honey, the first one, the honey lavender blonde.
Yeah.
Like it hit all the flavor profiles.
Yeah.
Mitch?
It was bright. It was definitely. If I had to pick one out of the group, it was the hero.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think so.
That's why it was the winner.
I agree.
Yes.
And that's not to say I didn't like the other ones. I think all the flavor profiles hit, but to me the honey, we've never done this before. We've never like taken all the beers that we've had from like somebody on our show and said which one is our favorite. And I guess that's the beauty of organic, right? But to me, it's all opinion. Yeah.
What you love, someone might hate.
Yeah, but the honey the
honey lavender blonde.
Honey lavender blonde to me took the cake today.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I mean, I wish I knew what stood out at Preds Fest. I mean, it was great to win Preds Fest, and the guitar is pretty awesome. But
what about it, right?
And well, because of the fact that we did blow out everything, we got so much positive feedback. There was like no specific, hey, this was your best beer or this is what won it. Whereas I know with the Honey Lavender Blonde, that's the reason we won in Murfreesboro.
Yeah. What I don't know about most festivals, especially if they have a competition about who brewed the best, X, Y, Z, whatever.
Right.
This one, it seemed like Preds Fest. We still didn't really get an idea of what it was.
No.
The most
right.
tokens wins.
Right. But you get the most tokens for a reason.
Yes. But for a brewer, what would be like something that's simple enough for tasters who have had at least 3 to be able to give an opinion-based thing? Like, I'm always constantly thinking about that. What can I do to give feedback that's valuable other than it tastes good? You know?
I mean, other than giving someone like a slip to write things down. Yeah, but no one's going to, yes. That's why it's so much easier. It's so much easier to give them a token and say, if you like their beer, give them a token.
Yes.
But on the it doesn't distinguish which beer they liked.
Right.
It does show that there was something with your beers that stood out above everyone else.
Yeah.
And that's why you got your token. So
because they have so many options to choose
right.
from.
There's not just the options on the floor that we have, but there's also the options on the concourse with all those other brewers.
And sometimes that's good enough, right? Like you don't, as a beer nerd, which I think you would agree with me, is you're looking for that one data point that goes, what about our beer made us win today?
Which, was it a specific beer? Was it this? Was it
sometimes,
that?
Keith, at the end of the day, it's, do you make better beer than the other guys?
Well, and
sometimes you just have to be okay with that,
right.
because the average Joe that's drinking craft beer is not going to be like, oh, you know what? Like the IBUs were a little high for your IPA, or this one was better. Sometimes they're just going to go, I liked it. It was better. And they're going to give you your token as
you might get a
winner.
handful of tokens because someone liked the spicy beer.
Yeah.
We like spicy. That was perfect. Here's a handful of tokens between
absolutely.
So many people. Someone might say that hibiscus rose, it wasn't really beery, even though it was a beer. It was more like a red wine. Here's my tokens.
Yeah.
I mean, we had somebody back in Pittsburgh when we won our first award that was in Egypt and said they could not get enough hibiscus. It was like they're something they loved. And the minute he tasted our hibiscus, we were like his first booth. He's like, I'm not going anywhere else. Here's the token. Nice. And he gave us the token at that point. So, it's great to hear something specific. If you're getting tokens, you're still doing something right. I mean, I am unfortunately ultra competitive. And when I hear people coming up to me saying, oh, you guys have a lot of tokens and stuff like that, I'm like, don't tell me that. I don't want to know. I don't want to know if I have the least amounts. I don't want to know if I have the most amounts.
You just want to know that you have tokens.
When I'm at the end and they say our name, that's all I want.
Yep.
Because, that competitiveness.
You're thinking about it the whole time.
If you're going to tell me I've got a lot of tokens,
and he's over there doing
I might start walking around looking at other people going, what am I not doing that I'm not getting their token? And when I have 7 or 8 or 9 people come up to us after they take it and say, here's your token. Oh, they took your token jar. It's like, because the competitiveness in me is like, if I lose by 2 tokens, you guys came up late and I'm losing because you didn't come up sooner.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I know. I can't. I have no idea where my competitive nature came in. And sometimes I really like it, but sometimes I really hate it.
Absolutely.
Well, I wish I could just go and relax.
Well, I think that
I can't leave my.
I think that in summation, Dark Shadow is not only the encompassing theory of you guys make good beer, but you guys make unique
Did you guys
beers.
already drink the dark?
Yeah, man.
Oh, wow.
We drink it. It's gone.
I'll share a secret.
Yeah.
We were considered a vendor, so we didn't get tokens.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
We
what?
didn't get tokens.
Well,
We didn't get
it's
to
not
vote.
like you came by our booth to
Yeah.
vote anyway.
Yeah. I came by the booth, didn't get to vote, obviously. That's true.
Yeah,
we
you
did get
did.
to see
You
you
did.
win.
You did.
Congratulations on the W, by the
thank
way.
you.
Oh, thank
That was
you.
awesome. The Preds
That's
Beer
cool.
Fest was awesome.
Yeah.
And you guys had some stiff competition, I'll say. I mean, there were a lot of good breweries there. I mean, Tenfold, there's East Nashville Beer Works, there was tons
There's
of
not
locals.
a fest that we've gone to where there hasn't been awesome breweries.
Yeah.
I mean, so as technically still a home brewer, to actually be on that level and or win,
you should be
Yeah,
proud of
is-
yourselves.
Yeah, to me,
Absolutely.
it doesn't really
Super
sink
humbling.
in initially, because
Yeah.
like when we went at Murfreesboro,
Mhm.
they were all like, "Oh, he's so serious. He doesn't do this. He doesn't do that." But what happens is I get focused on what I'm doing, and I really want to ensure that people are there and enjoying what I'm giving
Yeah.
them.
For sure.
So to be on that level as a home brewer to me is absolutely amazing.
For sure.
And I would love nothing more than to in the future have a place like this and be able to have people come and sit down and enjoy my beer,
And you'll get it.
because there's nothing more that I love. And it started back when we were home brewing, when I was in my kitchen. I mean, we're still home brewers, but when I was in my kitchen, even though I had to grind stupid grains because I was an idiot with a rolling pin, I was still literally dancing around the kitchen, enjoying what I was doing. And I still love it. I love brewing. And so if I can brew things that make people happy and want them to come back, that's amazing.
That'd be awesome. I think, Mitch, what we want to do you want to get into the lightning round?
Uh-oh.
What,
We didn't get
what
into
you
the-
shared?
So we've had a really good time.
Oh.
Yeah.
And, we're this deep in. What's one more?
What's one more? I agree.
I'll go get it.
There's the ability for us to. So one, this is kind of like a bonus round. So this is, feel free to do whatever you
Bonus
guys want to do.
points.
But this is a way for, and we try to do this with each
I
one
don't
of
know
our
what you said.
episodes. This is something we try to do with each one of you
Oh,
guys.
that beer?
Is as an appreciation to you guys bringing us some beer. What we like to do is we try to bring something that we can share with you guys.
Awesome. So you guys brewed this?
No, I'll let. So the rules are the person that brings it gets to talk about it.
Who brought it?
So this is a Mitch beer.
I brought it.
Yeah,
He almost sounds disappointed. I brought
he
it.
just has to talk about it. That's
So-
why he's disappointed.
I haven't had this one yet. I got to go visit Oil and Lumber, Ethan, over a little bit of a city from here, but
So,
it's only
wait,
about 24
let me ask
minutes.
you this before you even go.
Yeah.
If you've never had it,
Yes.
why did you buy it?
Oh, I want to try it
But why?
because
Because
There's-
why? Was it because the bottle was cool?
no.
Because you had
Good
feedback. You heard
I'm
people
gonna
saying
I'm
it was
gonna take a
good?
guess. Is it
Why-
an Embrace the Funk?
Well, it is
Was
from
it the
Gose.
name?
It's a Brandon beer.
It's a branded beer. So
I don't know what that means.
well, the reason I'm going to say is my guess. Mitch will tell me.
Let's roll.
But I'm guessing the reason he purchased this is because the brewer historically knows how to make good beer and he wants to support the guy.
Yeah, and craft beer in general, I don't know always where my palate is shifting. So Embrace the Funk pushes the limits compared to a lot of other breweries here. He just does good stuff.
Well, and that's how she came up with beer.
Yeah.
I mean, her palate changed since she started. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
when we first started with beer, we were out in California, and I was drinking a sour, and she's like, "Let me try that." That was her first introduction to beer, was a sour. Since then, it's been sours, lagers,
Dude.
porters, IPAs,
Yes.
the whole gambit.
A weird.
Gambit.
Beers.
Gambit?
Here's a weird truth
Salmon, I guess.
for me, and it's a half
Whatever.
truth between Richard and I
Fuck
when it
my
comes
life.
to some beer styles. For IPAs, it took some of the strongest IPAs to get us interested in the IPA
Really?
style itself.
So
Am I wrong?
you went hardcore.
Nope, you're not wrong.
Okay,
Absolutely.
You guys went hardcore
Yeah.
to like
Apparently.
yeah, because if you're gonna go strong IPA, you're going hardcore.
My
Yeah.
first two IPAs were Dogfish Head 120 minute, and then I believe it was Green Flash Palette Wrecker.
Wow.
Were my
It's-
first.
those are so good. too.
Sorry, Stone Ruin 10. Those are my.
Oh, well, mine was because of my boss who had a podcast in craft beer as well was Hop Flat or Green Flash.
Yeah.
Green Flash. God, I think that brewery over in Carlsbad's gone now. Sucks. But also it was Hop Slam. So it took those two to really kind of knock it into place for me. And then I showed up for the Dogfish Head 120 event where we learned that trivia about ourselves.
Have we gone from lightning round to turtle round?
To turtle round?
Yeah, this is kind of slowing down.
What would
your chat has gone off skew?
a literal green flash?
That's where the beer starts hitting. What are we drinking, by the way, Mitch?
So this is the bottled version of a Belgian strong ale from Embrace the Funk.
Okay.
Yazoo and I'm going to butcher this other collaborator, but it's a Brasserie de la Seine. I'm American from the Southeast, so I apologize. But this one, if I'm not mistaken, I'd have to go back to the email because I kept busy today. But it was kept a little longer in the tank, and there's a few extra notes of flavor in this one compared to what he canned previous several weeks before this one's release. So I'm curious just to find out what it's about.
And when did you buy this? How long ago?
2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, I picked it up 2 weeks ago.
Maybe you should learn how to open a bottle.
I'm really confused.
I think it released about a month.
Maybe I'm thinking. Oh, I'm just going to use.
Hey, this beer is brought to you by Dark Shadow Brewing Company. Dark Shadow Brewing Company, the company you want to invest in, the company you want to be part of.
And don't worry about the stigma of green bottles.
Does that mean it's a Heineken?
Right.
I definitely can't get this bottle.
No, you
open.
clearly cannot.
All right, hold on.
I'll let Mitch do it because I feel like if I'm going to keep doing it, I'm going to shatter it. But I don't think it's the beer talking, but I definitely can't get that beer open.
Slightly derp.
Oh,
you hear a little hiss. You're getting there.
I started it for him, Keith. I started it for him. It's like I can't get it open. Can you help me get it open? It's like, can you try to open it a little bit? There we go.
The bottle of tomato paste. You can't get
exactly.
There we go.
I started it for you, honey.
I found a neat trick the other day of hitting a knife against the jar and it opens it and like
just bang.
Where was that?
Side of
no.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
With the
That's when you
flat
break
of
it.
the blade,
Yeah,
not the sharp and the flat.
No, she's talking about banging it on the counter.
Well,
yes, it works.
Holy foam, Batman!
Yeah, man, foamy heads. That's what we do.
that's an aggressive
Clearly.
pour.
Called an aggressive pour.
Talk about aggressive pour.
Yeah,
Oh, there's
right there.
Oh, I got water in my beer and
B
Here's
aggressive.
beer in my water.
B-E aggressive.
So
Holy shit! There's another one.
there we go.
Dude.
There it's going.
it's my
Oh
beer.
my
I do what
God.
I want.
Mitch can do what he wants. It's his beer.
Well, if you like all that head.
You know, it pays the bills.
Embrace it. Funk, Tripping Gold Belgian Strong Ale, Mitch.
All right, so
Tripping gold.
I went ahead and dove in and drank the foam
There you go.
with the
that's
aggressive
what she
pour.
said.
Oh man,
This has a good nose to it. I know.
I already
he's not
enjoy it.
okay. He's
It's
forming.
good.
yeah,
There you go. Thank you, sir.
Really good.
That's good.
that smells great. It tastes great. At least the foam does. But
Well, let's find out because you were aggressive.
oh man,
Ooh, I like that beer.
what?
Yeah, this is good. This is really good.
This is so much better than the shit we just had.
It's
No,
a bit. Well,
absolutely not. No.
So in my mind, when I think Embrace the Funk, I think funk beers. This is a Belgian strong ale.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm automatically going to funky, sour, like weird
Well,
out
you
there
shouldn't go to
beers.
sour.
Mm-mm.
It's just the way my brain works. And there's another story we'll tell you guys offline about that.
Yeah,
but
Uh-oh.
funk beers for me, typically like Embrace the Funk beers, Yazoo is typically historically been associated with funky sour beers. This is not the case.
No, it's not
there's
always.
no sour to it at
Yeah,
all.
no, not at all. It's a Belgian strong ale, but this is really good.
If it
Brettanomyces,
tastes sour, it might be a little old.
Yes, yeah. It would have more of a cardboard kind of like wet cardboard or old cardboard kind
Which
of
is a weird flavor profile to
There's a little
like,
bit
but
of,
I agree.
I
yeah.
get some clover.
Clove
Somewhat.
works.
Yeah.
I get you.
Ooh,
I see what you're
yeah.
saying. Yeah, absolutely.
And the only Clover stands out to me because as a young boy, my mom made a ham.
Christmas ham with the
clovers all over it.
yes.
And
Absolutely.
I thought the clover was chocolate.
Nope.
I thought the clove was chocolate.
You ate one.
And I ate one.
Oh,
I will never
you didn't
forget
like that
taste.
Nope.
No.
Absolutely.
So I can taste the clove in that.
There's clove in
Gotcha.
this,
Yes.
for real.
Gotcha.
I agree.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
I agree with
Absolutely,
Keith.
there
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
That and peach. And the peach, again, as I said, is another story.
All right.
Schnapps.
Schnapps.
Yes.
But we
Man.
appreciate you guys
Yes.
coming on
we
today.
appreciate you guys
This
having
was
us.
this was a great time.
Yes.
Having Dark Shadow on, it's something that we've been wanting to do for a while.
Hopefully we'll have more beer next time. I mean, we had 4 today.
Yeah.
We can have.
I'm not complaining about the amount of beer that we've had
No.
today.
Well,
no.
clearly this was much better than the one you had. because raving about that.
I would say it's much better than the beer I didn't have when I didn't stop by your booth at the Pred's Beer
Which
Fest,
is true.
which is not true.
That's yeah.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
By the way,
I won't come by.
congratulations on the win.
So why don't Valley Girls travel in anything but?
How come Valley Girls don't travel in anything but pairs?
Because they can't even.
Because they can't even.
No, it was actually why do Valley Girls travel in odd numbers?
Because they can't even.
Because
Yes.
they can't.
But math
Can't
doesn't
even.
work when you're drinking beer, so it's okay. Last thing, so
Dad jokes.
we've been through the history of Dark Shadow. We talked about the name. We talked about you guys' beers. We talked about the upcoming festivals and the beers you're
Please
making.
come to the fests. And
Yes.
please, not shameless plugs, but follow us on social media: Instagram, Facebook, X,
Hashtag Twitter.
formerly Twitter.
Wow.
Dark Shadow Brewing Code. That's the website too, darkshadowbrewingco.com. Always, again, if you felt like there was something you liked and you want to reach out, we may have beers, and as home brewers, again, all we can do is give it away. So it's a bonus
Until
for you
we get
guys.
a place.
So please follow us, like us, see us at fests. If you follow us on social media, we usually post what fest we're coming up with.
And
Rachel's,
sometimes the beer.
yeah, and we'll try to get the beers on there.
All right.
There are occasions where our beers will change at the last minute, but typically we try to lay them out because we need to know what we're brewing ahead of time. We're not a big brewer, so we can't make last minute changes. So when we lay out things, it's typically going to be how it is. So if you see something on our website that says this is what's at Music City, this is what's at Common John, it's going to be there too.
All right.
Nice.
That
So-
works.
Yeah.
Well, cheers to you guys.
Thank you.
We appreciate you
Cheers
guys being
to
on.
you.
Cheers to you.
Yes. Cheers.
Foamy Heads, Dark Shadow Brewing. Cheers to everybody watching
And
and listening.
hopefully there'll be a part 2.
We'll see you guys on the next episode.
Muchas gracias,
Cheers.
señoras.
Cheers.
Merci.